Look closely at this little girl's face. One second she's smiling, saying goodbye to her foster parents. The next second her expression changes. She drops the act. The girl's name is Post. She's the leader of the orphanage kids. If most kids in the orphanage dream of being adopted by rich families, then Post's dream is to see her friends happy after they get adopted. In the orphanage there's a cruel rule. You only get food if you cry. A man shouts, "All of you cry." The new girl looks shocked, but then the children actually start crying. The man scolds the one who cries the ugliest to him. The orphanage kids are like pets in a pet store. Only those who act pitiful get adopted by new owners. The man tells Post, "You cry first to show them." After seeing Post cry, he says, "Okay, you can eat now." This cruel man is the director of Duck's house. People call him the Demon King. Every child in the orphanage has a nickname. Their real names are long forgotten from the moment they're abandoned. The names given by their parents mean nothing to them anymore. Today is Maky's first day at Duck's house. A woman with a cold, unfriendly aura hands her to the Demon King. The kids call this woman Ice Doll. She works for Child Welfare Services. When Maky enters the orphanage, she feels something strange about this place. A tall girl wearing an eye patch holds a rabbit doll. A gloomy caretaker chops meat in the kitchen at night. When Maky enters the bedroom, she feels terrified. "Are you crying?" A head suddenly pops down from the upper bunk, scaring Maky badly. The lights turn on, revealing several kids in the room. One girl admires herself in the mirror. People call her Pami. The girl with glasses is nicknamed Bombay. Then a girl climbs down from the top bunk. It's Post, the leader of the group. The kids hear that Maky came to the orphanage because her mother hit her boyfriend with a blunt object and got arrested. So they nickname her Donkey. Maky hates being called Donkey. She believes her mother will take her back as soon as she gets out of jail. But when Maky learns how Post got her name, she feels sorry for her. Post was left in the orphanage mailbox right after she was born. Maky thinks Post is pitiful. "Do you feel sorry for me?" People who think that way are more pitiful. Just then the door suddenly opens. A 3-year-old boy walks in. The boy has soiled his pants. While the others laugh at him, Post says, "Stop laughing." She takes the boy to clean him up alone. Every child in the orphanage hopes to be adopted by a rich family, but that rarely happens. For example, a boy named Vicky is only adopted by a couple who owns a small restaurant. Everyone thinks he used to just do odd jobs for people. Vicky doesn't want this either. But on adoption day, one look from Mao makes Vicky too scared to say no. But that same night Vicky runs back. He spilled his foster parents' takeout. Mao gets angry and tells Vicky to go back. This place is only for homeless kids. Soon after the foster parents arrive, Vicky quickly hides behind Mao. The foster mom kneels down immediately. She asks if Vicky got burned. To be fair, Vicky knows his foster parents are very kind to him. But he has one problem. I can't say it. Words like mom or dad. The foster mom realizes she rushed things. "It's my fault for not noticing. I'm sorry. Just call us aunt and uncle. We want to be your family." At this moment Vicky finally accepts his new parents from the bottom of his heart. Early the next morning, Post begins her trial day. The trial means spending a few days together before the official adoption. Based on how it goes, the foster parents decide whether to adopt her. Post shares the expensive cakes from her foster parents with the other kids. Then Pashi's cake falls on the ground. Post scolds him like a mom would. "Don't eat that." It fell on the ground. She quickly gives Pashi her own piece. Post isn't the oldest kid, but she acts the most like a mom. The other kids run ahead carelessly, but Post always holds 3-year-old Pashi's hand and takes him to kindergarten first. One day Pashi sees a classmate picking up something from the ground to eat. Pashi immediately stops her. But during the struggle, the classmate falls down because of the force to a group of women watching from afar. It looks like the orphan kid not only steals food, but also hurts others on purpose, even with the teacher protecting him. These parents yell at Pashi without listening to his side. 3-year-old Pashi can't explain what really happened. Post, who comes to pick up Pashi after school, sees this scene. The parents keep saying Pashi is a child with no one to raise him. Post angrily steps forward, but she doesn't lose her temper. She says, "Sorry for the trouble." Post knows if she argues now, Pashi will be treated badly at kindergarten later. But this isn't the end of it. Post secretly kicks over the adults' bikes before anyone notices. The 3 of them run away laughing. They aren't bad kids. They just protect their family in their own way, like Mao once told them before. Stray dogs find new owners. If they don't know how to stay warm together, these dogs are the first to starve. The next day, Post goes to stay with a new foster family for a trial. Everyone thinks Post is very lucky. Her new parents are very rich, and they seem very kind. If this trial day goes well, they will soon sign the adoption papers. But during this visit, Post accidentally discovers her foster parents' secret, a room full of creepy dolls. Each doll is wearing a princess dress like hers. Then the foster mother walks in. She slowly moves closer to Post. Her smile starts to look strange. It turns out the foster father has a weird hobby. He loves collecting dolls. When he saw Post, who looks like a porcelain doll, he liked her right away. So the foster mother decided to adopt Post. This way her husband won't go out looking for others. Suddenly the foster mother thinks short hair suits the princess dress better. She takes out scissors to cut Post's hair. Hair is a woman's life. Post steps hard on her foster mother's foot, then she hides in the bathroom. Just then her foster father comes home from work. The foster mother quickly changes back to her gentle and kind appearance. But now that Post knows the truth, her foster father has to send her back. Yet in front of others, he still acts like a fake gentleman. But Post won't let him get away with it. She says loudly, "This man is having an affair." Meanwhile, Maky stares at her mother's perfume bottle. Suddenly, she hears her mother calling her. She looks outside. Her mom is out of prison. Her mother looks around the orphanage and sighs. This place is really nice. Maky tells her mother she doesn't want to stay here any longer. She asks her mom to wait while she packs her things, but her mother says, "No need to pack." Maky looks confused. Her mother tells her she's getting married. "You'll be happier staying here." Maky says, "Mom," no matter how much Maky begs, but her mother doesn't care. Her mother says, "I love that man." Maky asks, "Love? When you grow up and meet someone you like, you'll understand how I feel." Her mother keeps talking, saying many things, but Maky's mind goes blank. She doesn't hear anything. She never thought her mother would abandon her a second time. Now she understands what Mao told her when she first came to the orphanage. Back then Maky said, "I'll never betray my mom." Mao replied, "You were the one who got betrayed first." Maky waited every day, hoping her mom would come, but all she got was a goodbye. Sometimes goodbye means never see you again. Back then Maky believed her mom would come. She even fought with Post over it. She tried to hit Post with a vase, but Post only used a pillow to fight back. Post doesn't use her full strength. When Mao scolds them, Post stays silent and takes all the blame. Now Maky feels foolish. When Post returns to the orphanage, she finds Maky acting differently. Maky's mood changes. She even tries to be nice and offers to wash Post's clothes. From the other kids, Post learns Maky's mother abandoned her for good. Now Maky accepts being called Donkey. Post watches Donkey washing clothes and humming a song. She knows Donkey is just pretending to be strong. Dinner is about to start, but Donkey keeps wiping the table. Post can't take it anymore. She grabs Donkey and pulls her outside. She wants to help Donkey say goodbye to the past in the simplest way. Upstairs, in the storage room, Locker watches them with a kind smile. Post tells Donkey, "It's like a breakup. Only by leaving first can you stop missing someone. Today is the day your mom abandoned you, but it's also the day you abandon her." Soon they arrive at Donkey's old home. Laughter from inside the house completely shatters Donkey's last hope. Post takes out Donkey's mom's perfume and throws it to her. Donkey smells it deeply one last time, as if saying goodbye to the mother she knew. Then she throws it hard. As the glass breaks, Donkey's heart feels free at last. They run wildly, laughing together, but slowly Donkey can't hold back anymore. This is her first time crying since coming to the orphanage. The only way to chase away sadness is to let out the anger. To live happily, you must love yourself more than your mother did. Like Mao always says, life has 108 troubles, but everyone's troubles are different. No one can truly understand your pain. If you don't stay strong, no one will be strong for you. When they return to Duck's house, the sky is getting dark. Mao has been waiting for them. All 4 kids get punished, but Donkey still smiles, even though she lost her mom. She found a new family. These kids lost their parents, and they've already faced life's harshness. But the bond they share goes beyond blood. It helps heal their wounded hearts. One day, Mao brings a list of foster parents. He says Pashi must try living with them. Post, who sees Pashi as his own son, gets upset. But if it makes Pashi happy, Post holds back her feelings. Pashi comes from a broken home. His mom was addicted to gambling, so he ended up at Duck's house. Even so, he still holds his mom's old shampoo bottle every day because it smells like his mom. Today is Pashi's trial day with his foster parents. Post secretly watches from the window as Pashi leaves in the car. She looks like a mother watching her son go to school. Her heart feels heavy. She can't stop worrying, so she secretly follows them. Through the opposite fence, she sees Pashi playing happily with his foster parents. Post feels a little sad. She goes to the bridge alone to watch the sunset. Jack, who has a crush on Post, happens to walk by. Jack quietly stands beside Post. Post says, "It's beautiful, right?" Jack looks at Post's face and says, "Yeah." Post says, "I meant the sunset." Jack quickly turns away, embarrassed. Jack asks why Post looks sad. Post jokes, "The person I love most is with someone else now." Jack immediately invites Post to his birthday party this weekend. The best way to heal a broken heart is to start a new relationship. Post says, "Huh." Jack says, "The sunset is so beautiful today." Maybe in Jack's heart, Post is like his sunset back at the orphanage. Post sees Pami learning to knit a scarf from locker. Pami has a secret crush on Jack. She wants to give him a special gift for his birthday, but the holes in the scarf are a bit too big. That night, Pashi returns. His foster parents say they had a great first meeting, but Mao gets angry when he sees the shampoo bottle Pashi keeps holding. As soon as the foster parents leave, he snatches the bottle away and tells Locker to throw it out. Mao thinks no one will adopt a pet who can't forget its old owner. On the weekend, Pashi goes to his foster parents' home again. But when he opens his bag, he sees the shampoo bottle that was supposed to be thrown away. Nearby, Locker makes a keep quiet gesture. As a caretaker, Locker can't speak, but silently looks after every child. Meanwhile, Post takes Pami and Bombay to Jack's birthday party. But when they arrive, they see Jack didn't just invite the three of them. The room is full of rich girls. Jack's father is a government official, so everyone wants to be friends with him. Pami is about to give her handmade scarf, but then she notices another girl also brought a scarf. Pami quietly puts her gift away. But a rich girl who always looks down on the orphanage kids grabs Pami's gift and shows it to everyone. Pami tries to take it back, but the girl won't let go. She wants to embarrass Pami in front of everyone. This cheap thing breaks with one pull. "You've completely embarrassed yourself." Post, the big sister of the orphanage, can't stand seeing her family treated like this. She steps forward and pushes the girl away as the sun sets. The three of them fight against 10, but they still hold their own. The only problem is they ruin Jack's birthday party that night. Back at the orphanage, Post notices Pashi still isn't back. She starts to worry. Concerned about Pashi, Post runs to his foster parents' building late at night. She sees Pashi's foster father come out to take out the trash. They quickly search through it and find Pashi's shampoo bottle. The shampoo bottle is Pashi's way of remembering his real mother. He treasures it more than his own life. Post knows something must have happened to Pashi just then. Mao suddenly arrives and stops her from taking action. He says he already called the foster parents that afternoon. But this only makes Post angrier. "Pashi, if anything happens to him, I will kill you." Seeing the fury in Post's eyes, Mao has no choice but to call Pashi's foster mom to check. But to everyone's shock, a faint voice comes from the other end, Pashi crying for his mom. Hearing this, Post rushes upstairs. But no matter how hard she knocks, no one opens the door. Luckily, a neighbor opens their door. Post dashes straight to the balcony, planning to climb over to her foster parents' home. At this moment, Post's motherly love explodes to protect Pashi, who is like a son to her. Even if there's a deadly drop below, she won't hesitate. She climbs over the balcony and finds Pashi unconscious. Turns out the foster mom threw away his shampoo bottle to make him forget his real mom faster. And the controlling foster mom forces Pashi to take a bath. The extremely hot water and the small closed space make Pashi suddenly remember when his birth mother locked him at home and he got heat stroke. As the painful memories flood back, Pashi starts to feel dizzy. His whole body begins to shake. His foster father wants to call the orphanage, but his foster mother stops him. She says they might lose their right to adopt. Seeing Pashi unconscious in the room, Post smashes the window open. Even if she gets hurt by the glass, she doesn't care. She rushes inside and holds Pashi tightly in her arms. This is Post, a girl who would stand against the world for someone she loves. It's heartbreaking. Then Mao breaks in and takes them both to the hospital. In the hospital room, Post stays by Pashi's side. Pashi says, "Post, you took so long." Post says, "Sorry, maybe I was jealous." Pashi asks, "Is it because you like me?" Post says, "Kind of." The next day, while the kids are eating, Mao walks in. He throws a bag to Post. "Finish your food, take a bath, and go to bed." But inside the bag there's a new bottle of shampoo. Mao and Locker searched every store to find the exact same one. This is Mao. Behind his tough and cold appearance, he has a heart as warm as an angel's. For over 10 years running the orphanage, he's helped more than 100 kids feel the warmth of a family again. But in the end, he himself feels like a lost soul with no home to return to. The first child he ever sent away is Ice Doll, who now works for the government welfare agency. That's why Mao can get information about foster parents early, but what they're doing is actually against the rules. Aisdal says, I hate the system where parents pick kids. Kids should also have the right to choose their parents. After Aisdal leaves, Mao drags his injured right leg into the car. Locker hands him a lunchbox. Mao looks into the distance at the lunchbox shop owner. He keeps muttering to himself, still 3 more kids. I forgot, you can't speak. This girl has one red eye, even with an eye patch and her bangs down. Nothing can hide her beautiful face. Her name is Atabone, at 17 years old. If no one adopts her this year, she'll be kicked out of the orphanage. So she starts overeating and scares new kids for fun. But only Post knows Atabone is actually a very kind girl inside. She never fights with others for foster parent spots. But nowadays no foster parents want to adopt a kid her age. That day Mao brings a new list of foster parents. The family is super rich, but they clearly say they only want a Sagittarius child out of everyone. Only Atabone and Post meet the condition. Most importantly, they don't care about the child's age. This gives Atabone hope. Post decides to help her too. But when they arrive at the foster home, they don't meet the foster parents. Instead, the butler leads them to a video call with them. Then a girl in a wheelchair is pushed into the room. The foster parents work abroad all year. They want to adopt a child just to have someone keep their real daughter, Emma. Company Post realizes the so-called foster child is just meant to be a companion for Emma. At dinner, Emma acts like a spoiled rich girl. She tells them to enjoy this meal and then leave. She doesn't want any sisters. Even if her parents agree to adopt, she will only give them basic living expenses and pay for school until college. Her parents won't help with anything else. They can forget about inheriting any family money. Post is used to people's mean words. Years in foster care made her numb. But this kind of person makes Post want to annoy them more. She enjoys making Emma angry. Emma finally throws things and screams. She kicks them both out. The next day, Post wants to visit Emma again, but Atabone drags her feet. She doesn't want to go because Emma was right. Atabone only cares about money. She wants more cash for her eye treatment. So Post goes alone. Emma is shocked to see her. I'm back. Emma can't believe this stubborn kid still comes. She keeps being mean. She says Atabone got scared and didn't dare to come back. When Emma insults her family, Post almost throws her in a ditch, but holds herself back. Emma thinks Atabone didn't come because her weak point was exposed. When Emma says bad things about her family, Post almost pushes her into a ditch. Emma says, "Can't you see the road?" Post says, "Oh, sorry." But as they talk more, they both lower their guard. Emma tells Post she hurt her legs 2 years ago while playing on a balance beam. She thought the broken bones would heal in months, but 2 years later, she still can't stand or walk. Post grew up in an orphanage, so she understands people well. She sees that Emma is only pretending to be disabled to get attention from her parents abroad. But her parents didn't come back. They just hired someone to talk to her. That's why she gets angry with every girl who comes for the job. When Post pushes Emma toward a steep slope, Post lets go of the wheelchair. Emma screams, "Post, stop, no. Help, someone help." Post shouts, "Stand up." With a scream, Emma falls into a pile of trash. It's only her second day with the foster family, and she already made their precious daughter fall. This adoption will probably fail too, but surprisingly Emma, who usually has a bad temper, doesn't get angry. "I'm okay. I want to talk to her alone." Post guess turns out to be right. Emma's broken leg healed in less than 6 months, but she pretended to stay sick to get attention from her parents abroad, so she skipped her recovery exercises. With strong mental suggestion, her legs really became paralyzed. But the truth is she can never walk again, and her parents are still busy with work abroad. "This house is so big, but there's no place for me." But to Post, all this seems just ridiculous. Self-pity is never worth forgiving. If no one loves you, love yourself more. Post crouches down and touches Emma's legs. "Your legs will move again." Post makes up her mind. She will help Emma stand up again. Meanwhile, Mao is furious when he finds out Atabone didn't go to the foster family's meeting. She's already 17 years old. If no one adopts her now, she can't stay at the orphanage as an adult. These days it's hard to find foster parents who don't care about a child's age. Mao worked very hard to get this opportunity, but Atabone gave up so easily. Angry, Mao kicks Atabone out that evening. Post helps Emma practice standing again and again, but she keeps falling down. Emma starts losing hope. "Try one more time." "I can't do it anymore." But Post still wants her to stand up, not for anyone else but for herself, because doing something by choice feels different than being forced. Emma is a rich girl who grew up spoiled. Her idea of being strong and independent is often mixed with pride and arrogance. But for Post, who grew up struggling in the harsh life of an orphanage, her strength comes with pain and loneliness. The more she suffers, the harder she fights. Even if she knows her best efforts in life can never match Emma's natural advantages, she still lives with all her might. She faces the world with kindness. This has always been Post's way of life. When they return home, the butler is shocked to see the young lady covered in mud. But what surprises him more is the smile on her face, the first in 2 years. At night they sleep side by side. Their bond grows stronger. They become like sisters. But when Post sees the rabbit doll by the bed, she suddenly thinks of Atabone. She must be crying again, and at this moment Atabone is indeed crying. After being kicked out of the orphanage by Mao, Atabone goes to find the person she least wants to see, her birth mother, but nothing comes for free. Her mother forces 17-year-old Atabone to work as a bar hostess. But the men here are not good people. The next day Post practices with Emma over and over again. Then kids from the orphanage visit Post. They tell her Atabone never came back. Last night, suddenly, a scream is heard behind them. Emma, who couldn't stand before, gets scared by Pashi's frog and stands up. Just as things start to get better, Post gets a phone call. It's from Atabone. Her cruel mother forces her to work at a hotel for money. Atabone tells Post her mother treats her well and not to worry. But Post sees through Atabone's lie. If you two could really get along so easily, she wouldn't have abandoned you in the first place. No matter what lie Atabone tells Post, Post always sees through it immediately. Atabone looks at her messy reflection in the mirror. Her feelings of despair and helplessness won't go away. I'm so tired. But before she can finish speaking, someone knocks on the door. Post shouts urgently, "Hey, say something, hey." A man walks in. It's actually Locker from the orphanage. For many years, he has prepared 3 meals a day for the children. Though he can't speak, he shows his care through actions for everyone. He's the Locker who always protects Atabone and scares away all the bad men. Earlier that day Donkey told Mao that Atabone didn't come back all night. Mao knows she must have gone to find her birth mother, but Mao just kicked Atabone out so he feels too awkward to ask her to come back. Meanwhile, Locker secretly takes Mao's phone. Aistal's number is on it. After getting the message, Aistal immediately finds Atabone's mother. Only then does she learn Atabone's exact location. When everything is over, Locker texts Aistal a cute bunny emoji. After hearing Atabone is safe, Aistal finally relaxes. Aistal gives no warmth to Atabone's cold-hearted mother. "You gave up being a mother twice," she says sharply. "You won't get a third chance." When Atabone returns to the orphanage, it's very late. She doesn't know how to face Mao and tries to slip to her room. "Did you eat?" "Eat now." Mao always saves food for every child, no matter how late they return, but this time, though, Mao didn't scold them. Atabone cries uncontrollably because she realizes the orphanage, where she least expected it, but now it feels the most like home. Mao looks scary, but he acts like their father. At the same time, Aistal, who brought them back, gives brave Locker a sweet kiss on the cheek. Post sees this when she returns later. Should kids really see this? Meanwhile, Emma excitedly tells her parents overseas she can stand up now. She promises them she'll follow her treatment. The next day, Mao takes Post early to Emma's house to sign adoption papers. Actually, Mao wants Post to have a happy family more than anyone else. But as they approach Emma's house, they see from afar an ambulance parked outside. Post knows something's wrong. Emma used a vase to break her newly healed legs when Emma happily shared her joy with her parents. But she never expected to hear that her parents are getting divorced. This news makes Emma lose all hope, just when she found courage to live again. Mom and Dad are divorcing. Even if I can walk now, it means nothing. Post doesn't understand why some kids with parents still aren't happy. Even with both parents alive, Emma feels like an orphan. This is Emma's family situation. Though very rich, the family members live apart. As Emma once told Post, "This house is so big, but there's no place for me." Without her parents' love for years, she can only talk to cold screens about her loneliness back at Duck's house. Post also feels very sad. Though she really likes everyone at Duck's house, Post has always been the one who gives love to others. She wishes for a complete family and to feel love too. Life at the orphanage goes on as usual, simple and quiet, until this day. The orphanage suddenly becomes lively. Bombay is about to get her first chance. She can try living with a foster family. I decided to go for it. Even the usually cold Mao gets excited. He thinks, could I finally be free? But on her first visit to the foster home, something unexpected happens. When her foster father just serves her a bowl of rice, Bombay suddenly collapses. This scares her foster parents. While all the kids worry about unconscious Bombay, Post pours a cup of water over her head. Stop faking it. Post sees right through her act. She knows Bombay is pretending, but Bombay won't admit it. She still believes her parents will come back once they earn enough money. Then she kicks everyone out of the room. But soon after, Bombay opens the door again. She opens the door because she smells food. She sees Locker sitting outside the door. For many years, Locker held all the children's worries. Donkey asks Mao to talk to Bombay's real parents. But the answer is her parents died long ago. Post, who grew up in Duck's house, already knows the truth. Bombay now suffers from serious delusions. After her parents died, Bombay was sent to Duck's house. She didn't cry or fuss, but stayed completely silent. Even the psychologists couldn't help her. Then one day Bombay suddenly says her family is poor, so she was sent to the orphanage. She even smiles slightly. After that, her delusions get much worse. To help Bombay, Post asks Doll for help. But to really solve the problem, they need to find the root cause. So they decide to go to Bombay's hometown. They want to ask her aunt for information. Since it's a long trip, they bring their favorite person along. But Locker coming with them means the kids at the orphanage will have to eat Mao's terrible cooking for the next few days. None of you are allowed to leave any food uneaten. Okay, Post knows the chance is small, but she still wants to help Bombay. If nothing else, she'll treat this trip as a fun adventure. Post is a bit unpredictable, but also very determined. For someone she cares about, even the smallest chance is worth going the extra mile. She loves unexpected sights, surprises along the way, things others don't understand, and lonely, but interesting souls. When she truly feels everything, she realizes the journey is brighter than the destination. As night falls, they switch to a train. They look out the window. Smoke rises from houses in the distance. Tiny stars become clearer when the lights never go out. When the stars always shine bright, they become travelers, lost in a fairy tale world. After traveling all night, Post and others finally find Bombay's aunt. They also learn the reason for Bombay's delusion. Years ago, her parents died in a storm because she never saw them for the last time. Bombay always believes her parents are still alive, but their bodies were buried long ago. They want Bombay to accept the truth, but they can't help her. Meanwhile, maybe knowing his own cooking skills are limited, Mao sends Donkey to buy food at the lunchbox shop, while he secretly watches the shop owner's every move. But when he sees a strange man talking and laughing with the owner, Mao clearly gets upset. Who is that man? Donkey says he might just be a customer. Mao says normal people would just say thanks after buying a meal and leave right. When the man in the shop suddenly takes out a flower, Mao's eyes nearly pop out. Worried, Mao comes back to watch the shop that afternoon. Sure enough, the man returns. This time he brings a child with him. Mao completely loses it. When the man walks away a bit, Mao quickly blocks his path. He warns him to stay away. What do you want? I'll call the police. Mao says, I'm that woman's husband. If you value your life, stay away from her. That night at the orphanage, Locker prepares a big feast for everyone. Seeing the delicious food, the kids know their wait was worth it. Suddenly the lights go out. Pami screams. The children run in panic. A ghostly figure appears in the room, but Post thinks it looks familiar. Isn't this Bombay's aunt? But no one expected Bombay to walk toward her. Mom, you've grown up. Because you never came to get me, Dad and Mom didn't get to say goodbye properly in heaven. Seeing you so down, I asked the gods to let me visit you. Turns out, to help Bombay find courage again, Mao specially contacted her aunt. He used a projector to make this reunion happen, because the aunt and Bombay's mom were twins. Living together for long would make Bombay's delusions even worse. So the aunt sent her to the orphanage. Bombay asks, is Mom happy in heaven? The aunt says yes. I won't make you worry anymore. Never forget to smile, no matter what. Bombay says okay. The next day, the kids visit Bombay's parents' grave. Bombay tells everyone she will live her best life and keep smiling. She won't waste a single day from now on. Then they go to the beach. They arrive just as the sun is setting. The sunset looks very gentle and beautiful. The sunlight stretches long across the sea. It shines on the children's cute faces. Problems that once seemed too hard to solve now seem like nothing important. When they thought there was no way out, new hope always appeared. This world has no real ending. Every place that seems like the end is actually a new beginning. And the people who stay with you through all these hard times are the ones worth keeping soon. The children might be adopted by different foster families. They might live far apart, but even after 10 or 20 years they will meet again someday. They hope that many years later they can come back to this place to watch the sunrise and sunset and wait for the stars to appear. The girls stand by the shore. They stretch their little hands and promise to keep all the good memories. They will remember this feeling and keep it in their hearts. Time doesn't stop for us just because we face difficulties. If there are still regrets, leave them all in the past. From now on, move forward with confidence. Today, Pami is playing the piano in the classroom. When she finishes, she immediately checks herself in the mirror. She admires her own beauty. Post is used to her vanity. She isn't surprised anymore. Then the classroom door opens, and a woman walks in. She heard the beautiful music from outside. She asks Pami to play a difficult piece for her, arabesque. Pami says, "The word hard isn't in my dictionary." Post replies, "You're so bold." Her fingers touch the keys, moving like dancing fairies. This amazing performance earns Pami an invitation to the Vienna piano competition. The woman turns out to be a music professor. If she wins in this competition, wins a prize, she can compete in the world championship later. That night, Pami takes out a photo of her real father. The contestant list will be posted online. If her father sees it, he will come to watch. She hopes Post can help keep her father here. But Mao happens to return. He grabs the photo from her and tears it to pieces. Forget about him. He already abandoned you. There's no piano at the orphanage, so she drags Post along to practice at school every night. Loyal Post has to keep watch outside the classroom. When security guards patrol by, Post distracts them. "Hey, what are you doing? Can't catch me." Finally, the competition day arrives. In the waiting room, the tension is high. Pami says, "Just looks wise. I'm already way ahead of them." Post says, "You're so bold." When the competition starts, Post keeps watching their surroundings. Post notices something. A poor middle-aged man walks in. The man watches Pami playing piano. He gets emotional. Post checks the photo in her hand. She quickly runs after the man. Post asks him to meet Pami, but the man refuses. Mao comes out too. He tells Post Pami's father's company went bankrupt. He has huge debts. He can only live in a tiny shack under 10 square meters. Maybe Pami doesn't mind, but as a father he does. As her dad, he knows her piano talent. "She's a precious gem given to me by heaven. I can't let her lose her shine." The father believes his presence will only hurt his daughter's happiness. He only wants to see Pami shining brightly. He doesn't want her live a difficult life. Finally, the father chooses to leave. His figure disappears into the distance. The competition ends. Pami gets second place. Pami qualifies for the national competition. Post decides to keep it a secret. She doesn't tell anyone. Pami's father came meanwhile. Donkey meets her first foster family for a trial. Stay on this day. Donkey feels warmth like never before. Her foster parents take her to an amusement park. They enjoy simple family happiness together. Her foster mother worries she's cold, so she rubs Donkey's hands to warm them. Her foster father is afraid of heights, but still rides the roller coaster with her again and again. When it's time to leave, they give her a balloon. As Donkey takes the balloon, she sees their reflection in the glass. A happy family of 3. It feels too perfect. Lost in thought, she lets the balloon slip away. Compared to her birth mother, who abandoned her twice, this happiness feels unreal. Maybe she's afraid it won't last, afraid it will disappear too soon, afraid this new family will abandon her too. So she refuses the adoption. It seems like living in unhappiness makes her feel more comfortable. Maybe because she has tasted the sweetness of happiness once, she keeps thinking about her foster parents. Donkey goes back to the foster family. She sincerely apologizes to them. She says everything is her fault. Abandoned by her birth mother twice before, this is the first time she feels kindness. This happiness feels unreal to her. She fears she doesn't deserve this love. Her foster father says, "Lift your head up. Actually, my wife insisted on having you, but I said we should give up. I thought, maybe in your eyes, we weren't good enough to be parents." It really made me sad. When they talk openly, the heaviness in their hearts disappears. Donkey hopes her foster parents will treat her like a normal child from now on, because real life isn't just happiness. Sweet, sour, bitter and spicy, joy and sadness. That's what a real family is like. The foster parents finally realize they were too impatient. They always try to show only the best side of themselves, but they forget a child who was once abandoned doesn't just need happiness. They also need something real to comfort their hearts. The foster mom says, "Can you help me later with cooking dinner?" Donkey happily says yes. Meanwhile, Bombay is at the park. She meets a foreign couple. They look exactly like her idols Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. In her mind, they perfectly match her image of ideal foster parents. Suddenly the wind blows her hat right to the man's feet. He picks it up and returns it. But at that moment Bombay's imagination takes over. She pictures herself as their daughter, dancing and laughing with them. But when she snaps back to reality, the couple is already gone. Back at the orphanage, Bombay shares her story with the other girls. This is the first time since her parents died that she actually wants to be adopted by a family. But soon Bombay feels sad again. She thinks this might just be another one of her daydreams. To cheer Bombay up, her friends find out that that foreign couple have no kids. Only their niece lives with them. She's even in Bombay's class. So the friends tell Bombay to take this chance. Hey, Jolie and Pitt. But Bombay stays surprisingly calm. She knows her chances of being adopted are slim. Still, for some reason, after hearing this news, Bombay starts cleaning the table. She suddenly feels full of energy. At the same time, Pashi meets her second potential foster family. Maybe because she's nervous, he holds the bottle even tighter. The foster parents are a couple who make sugar figurines. At their first meeting, shy Pashi hides directly behind Istall. But the foster parents don't mind. They warmly invite him inside. When he sees the room full of candy, Pashi finally lets go of all his guard. Holding the sugar figurine from his foster mom, he can't hide his happiness anymore. But the next day Post notices while taking him to school that Pashi seems very tired. Post realizes something must have happened at his foster parents' home. In the evening, Pashi returns to the orphanage. He has a lot to tell Post, but Post isn't there. So Donkey helps him sleep instead. But just then Donkey notices that Pashi isn't holding his shampoo bottle anymore. Instead, he has the sugar figurine from his foster parents. When sending Pashi to the foster family, Mao also notices this change. Hey, why didn't you take your shampoo bottle? It seems he doesn't need it anymore. This means Pashi has let go of her worries and is ready to leave the orphanage. Mao reminds everyone again not to tell Post about this. When Pashi arrives at his foster parents' house, he isn't nervous like before, noticing he didn't bring the bottle. His foster mom buys the same shampoo for him. You don't have to forget your mom. I'll try to be more like your mom.to the foster mom. Real love is like streams joining the ocean. Her true feelings can reach the child's heart. Pashi wipes his foster mom's tears. Their hearts grow closer in this moment. Back at the orphanage, Pashi puts a candy figure he made on Post's bed. He practiced for a long time with his foster dad. His foster dad asks, "Do you like her?" Pashi nods hard and says yes. He says, "Good then, let's add a heart." Meanwhile, at dinner, Post notices no place is set. Pashi's bowl and chopsticks are missing. We don't need to prepare his anymore. At this moment, Post realizes Pashi is about to leave. Actually, everyone at the orphanage has been keeping it from Post. They're afraid it will upset her. Post hugs Pashi tightly. "Is your dad nice to you?" Pashi says yes. "Is your mom nice to you?" Pashi says yes. When she learns this is Pashi's own decision, Post knows the time to say goodbye has come. Though her heart is full of sadness, she still manages to smile and gives her blessing. "Congratulations, Pashi." Like all meetings in life that come so unexpectedly, all goodbyes also leave so quietly. We often only start loving a place when we're about to leave it. Life is like this too. We think growing up means we can stay together forever, so we do everything we can. We push ourselves to grow up fast. But when we finally grow old enough to say goodbye to our youth, we realize something. We find out that growing up only makes us drift apart. Not every goodbye gives us the courage to say see you later, and not every see you later turns out the way we hope. Pashi gets farewell messages from all his friends, but one is missing. He never gets to see Post one last time. Pashi still has so much he wants to tell Post to him. The world has few truly beautiful things, just the autumn evening breeze and Post's heart-melting smile. Ordinary things became special and bright just because Post was there. The car hasn't gone far. When Istall tells Pashi to look out the window, she's there. Your little mom is over there. Now we see Post and Locker standing not far away. Life is all about changing and moving, all to reach the same final stop. Sometimes you ride the same train with someone for a few more stops, but no one stays till the end. Looking out the window, their eyes say goodbye. No need to say it. The morning fog clears that day. But it's not just the morning, not just the fog, but us too. There may be thousands of bright days ahead, but none will shine as bright as the days I spent with you. Like Hayao Miyazaki once said, "I don't know why I love you, but you're the reason I can't love anyone else." After Pashi leaves, Post doesn't smile as much. She keeps her pain hidden inside. Some sadness doesn't need words. Silence says enough. Post quietly falls apart, then slowly heals herself. Time passes, and everything gets better. One day friends tell Post about a new 4-year-old boy. His gambling-addicted mother locked him at home. Community workers rescued him and brought him to Duck's house. Post immediately thinks, this must be Pashi. She runs outside. Post rushes forward and hugs the boy tightly. But when he turns around, he says hello. Post realizes that when you miss someone too much, everyone looks like them. Meanwhile, after seeing how Post suffered losing Pashi, Bombay decides not to have regrets. She makes up her mind to go to Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's house. But as soon as she arrives at the door, she sees Pitt run out. Bombay quickly asks him and finds out Jolie has run away from home. But running can't beat driving. They soon catch up with Jolie. The reason she left is unexpected. She can't have children due to medical condition. To win his wife back, Pitt is even willing to live child-free. Hiding in the distance, Bombay secretly watches everything. Then she gathers courage and approaches them. Does it have to be your own child? Just like you can't have children. There are many children without parents, like people who run hard just to chase the setting sun. They forget that soon they can see a beautiful moon, big and round in the sky. Isn't this nature's way of making up for those who missed the sunset? Locker is making a birthday cake for his crush, Istal. He's making a birthday cake, but he doesn't expect that. When he brings it to Istal's place, he finds out Istal already has a boyfriend. To ease the awkwardness, Post grabs the cake and says, this is a gift from all the kids. Then she pulls Locker away quickly, but they don't get far before Post's shoe falls off. I'm sorry, I wanted to help you two get together. I didn't know Istal had a boyfriend. Locker gently helps Post put his shoe back on. Locker, can you wait for me to grow up? Hearing Post's comforting words, Locker starts to feel better. Deep down he understands that sometimes just liking someone is enough. Life is very long. Liking someone, being right for someone, and being together are three different things. Meanwhile at the orphanage, the oldest girl, Atabone, is often bullied. At school her classmates always pick on her. They also force her to steal things. Atabone enters a supermarket. She nervously picks the cheapest pen refills and stuffs them into her bag. Then she runs out in panic. Right outside, she bumps into a passerby. She doesn't even notice her things scattering everywhere. She keeps running without looking back. The woman she bumped into sees the clerk about to call the police. She immediately offers to buy everything. Soon after Atabone runs back, she searches for something. Turns out when she fell earlier, her student ID dropped by accident. The woman who lives nearby holds up her ID. She tells Atabone to stop doing things she doesn't want to do. The woman is Kaori. She runs a lunchbox shop nearby, the same one Mao often secretly watches. Atabone tells Kaori that growing up in the orphanage, she desperately wants friends. But she never expected those so-called friends just wanted to use her. Seeing how kind Atabone is, Kaori thinks for a moment. She says, I'll be your friend. Atabone goes, huh? Seeing Kaori's honest face, Atabone smiles happily. At the same time the orphanage is doing spring cleaning. Locker draws a picture for Donkey, who keeps working hard. Is this me? Donkey asks. I'm still scared. My foster parents are so nice. But I don't know how to make them happy. Locker can't speak, but shows his answer. He changes the drawing a little. Donkey understands now to parents. A child's smile is the best medicine. That afternoon Donkey wants to impress her foster parents. She asks Locker to come help fix their water pipes. Seeing Donkey's happy face, Locker looks at her with gentle eyes. But on the way back to the orphanage, Locker suddenly stops walking. He sees a man hitting his pregnant wife. The man keeps beating her. Seeing this, Locker loses his usual gentle manner. He rushes forward and pushes the man away. Then he punches the abusive husband over and over again. Donkey sees everything and looks shocked. But then her expression becomes strangely calm. When Mao arrives at the police station, he learns that Donkey, the only witness, refuses to speak. Everyone thinks the girl is just scared, so they don't push her. But back at the orphanage, Donkey starts crying and telling everyone how violently Locker hit that man. She doesn't say why he did it. Soon, because of Donkey's story, everyone misunderstands Locker more and more. Only Post still believes in him. The next day, Mao brings Locker back to the orphanage. Only Post and Atabone come out to greet them. The other kids, following their survival instinct, won't even eat the food he makes. This makes Locker feel completely heartbroken. Luckily, Post keeps comforting him. She tells him to show his special cooking skills tonight. Then everyone's attitude will surely change. But that evening, only Post and Atabone come down to eat. So Post brings the food to their doors. She keeps describing how delicious it is. We already said we don't want any. The kids accidentally heard that Locker's mother once killed her own husband. They think his violent behavior must come from his mother. Post helps Locker pick up all the food from the floor. She promises to eat every bite. Meanwhile, Atabone tells the kids to apologize to Locker. Pami and Bombay start to realize they went too far. Only Donkey stays seated. She doesn't say a word. But when they reach downstairs, they see something shocking. Big words on the windows say, "I killed that person." This sight makes the kids misunderstand even more. Their confusion grows deeper. The next day, Mao takes Post to visit Locker's mom in prison. On the way, he tells Post about Locker's past. Locker used to have an abusive father. He got arrested for many crimes. During that time, mother and son were happiest. But one day, the terrible father returned. He became even worse. Locker couldn't take it anymore. He pushed his father down. He thought he killed him by accident, but the father was actually fine. His mother then killed him. The police officer on this case was Mao. All these years, Locker thinks his mother took the blame for him, so he treats this as a promise with his mother. After that, he stops talking completely. Post goes to the prison and finds Locker's mother has late-stage cancer. She can only rely on painkillers every day. Post hopes Locker's mother can stay awake and tell Locker the truth herself. Meanwhile, Ice Doll finds the pregnant woman who was beaten that day. Although the woman tries to protect her husband, Ice Doll still sees the truth from all her bruises. Just then, Ice Doll gets a call from Mao. She immediately tells Locker to see his mother one last time at the hospital. His mother struggles to say, "You're not the killer. You got it wrong, right, officer?" After hearing his mother tell the truth, Locker can't accept it and runs out of the room. Locker runs into the heavy rain. He struggles in pain. Post feels heartbroken seeing this. When Locker finally calms down after letting out his emotions, Post gently puts a coat over his shoulders. "Locker, you misunderstood again. Your mom gave up her own life to set you free." Meanwhile, Mao returns to the orphanage. He finds Donkey turning everyone against Locker. They want to kick out Locker for being violent. This makes Mao lose his temper. He makes all kids sit in a circle with pillows. They form a circle. Mao asks the children, what exactly are they afraid of? Locker didn't use violence for no reason. Instead, he used his strength to protect a pregnant woman from domestic abuse. Mao knows the kids are afraid because of Locker, so they want to kick out Locker who might cause trouble. He is not that kind of person. Finally, Mao takes out Locker's notebook. He lets everyone pass it around. It records everything about the kids, their allergies, their birthdays, what they dislike, what matters most to them, and what kind of kids they are. As they read it, tears start flowing uncontrollably. At the same time, Locker returns to the hospital room, but he is too late. He gently lifts the white cloth over his mother to say his final goodbye. "I'm sorry." After 10 years of silence, Locker speaks for the first time. "Thank you." Outside the room, Ice Doll asks Post, "Why do you trust him so much?" Because Locker is just Locker. For many years, he has prepared 3 meals a day for the kids. He remembers everyone's favorite things. He keeps their preferences close to heart. He never speaks, but answers everyone with gentle actions. He quietly cares for each person. So when the storm comes, Post stands firmly at the center of it. She protects what matters most. She holds onto that warmth tightly. The three of them handle Locker's mother's funeral together. Post gently holds Locker's hand. She tells him she'll always be there. Ice Doll also decides to follow her heart. She takes his hand too. From now on, the three of them face life's challenges together. When Locker returns to the orphanage, this time all the children run out to greet him as they apologize. Locker gently pats their heads, but just then Post notices someone watching from the second floor. It's Donkey, glaring angrily at them. She stands alone, full of rage. Post sees her clearly. Donkey's cold stare doesn't go unnoticed. She watches everything with hostility. Her presence feels like a dark shadow. We can never imagine how much the kids at the orphanage want to be adopted. Just now, a foreign couple arrives at Duck's house. They want to adopt a child. They are Jolie and Pitt, the couple Bombay dreams about. They are not only good-looking, but also very kind. They are famous philanthropists. So all the kids are excited. But Bombay feels a little down because not long ago Bombay was invited to their home. Pitt thanks her for helping him before and says they plan to adopt a child from the orphanage. Hearing this, Bombay is overjoyed, but Pitt says, "Then my dream can come true. I want to play soccer with my son." Bombay asks, "Son?" It turns out Pitt likes daughters too, but he needs a son to inherit the family business. "I don't understand why daughters can't inherit the business." Bombay's heart sinks. Jolie and Pitt meet all the boys at the orphanage, but none of them are what they want, because they can't forget one special memory. It's the image of a child walking alone at sunset. In the end, they don't choose any child from the orphanage, but they still decide to keep their promise to help the orphanage, all because of one little girl who gave them both hope before. Just then a soccer ball rolls to Brad's feet. "Want to play soccer with me?" Mao can't believe his eyes. This child looks exactly like Brad's ideal son. Actually, Bombay cut her hair to get adopted by the couple. She pretends to be a boy by cutting it short. "Shorter," she says. Post says, "But hair is a girl's pride." Bombay insists. "Cut it shorter." Bombay cheers for Brad. With Angelina, she tries to play soccer. Even though girls usually don't play this game, she works hard for them. Bombay works hard to learn French. She wants to communicate better in the future. Even when she switches back and forth being a boy and a girl, she still enjoys it. Everyone in the orphanage notices everything Bombay does. She might feel sad later for doing this. The truth will come out someday, but she still wants to try, even if it's just one more day. But reality is not as nice as she imagines. On the second day with Pitt, the twins from the orphanage show up after playing soccer together. Pitt sees the kids sweating a lot. He tells them to take a bath together. The twins start taking off their clothes. They tease Bombay for not joining them. Pitt notices Bombay's upset face. He scolds the twins right away. "If you bully others again, you'll leave." "I'm sorry." After saying sorry, Bombay runs away without looking back. Even after running far, she keeps mumbling, I'm sorry. At this moment, Pitt seems to realize something. That night, Post wonders why Bombay hasn't come back for dinner. The twins are actually happy about exposing Bombay's lie and feel proud of themselves. When Post learns the truth, she grabs them by their collars, ready to teach them a lesson. Meanwhile, Locker notices Donkey standing nearby, who gives a creepy smile because the twins' actions were all planned by her from the start. Post shares half of her sweet potato with Bombay. "Can I cry for a little while?" "Yes, of course you can." Bombay once made a promise at her parents' grave that she would never cry again, but this time she breaks that promise. She knows people will eventually find out she's actually a girl, but she hopes that day comes as late as possible because she really likes Jolie and Pitt. "I want to shout one last time. Will you join me?" "Yes, let the whole world hear us." So the two girls stand on an oil tank. They want to say goodbye to Jolie and Pitt for the last time. They shout together, "Jolie, Pitt." But Bombay doesn't know that. After she ran away, scared, Pitt came to the orphanage. He asked Mao why he let Bombay hide her gender. Mao had no answer. Though he wants Bombay to be happy, he knows he failed his duty. Just then Locker suddenly speaks. He says, "Jolie, Pitt." Pitt says, "Huh." So Mao takes Pitt to see the children's room. Right away they notice a big poster on the wall. Mao tells Pitt that Bombay dreams every day about becoming their child, to become their child. She turned down many families for this. Every day she stares at their poster and shouts, "Jolie and Pitt." Then Pitt remembers what Bombay once told him. Do they have to be your real kids? Even orphans deserve happiness. Everyone does. For some reason Pitt smiles a little. He can't help it. He copies Bombay's behavior, saying Jolie and Pitt. Seeing his annoying face, Mao grips his cane tightly, but he holds back. After all, Brad promised to donate to the orphanage. Finally Brad leaves. Brad says, "Silly kid. A girl's hair is her pride." Watching Brad go, I still can't help asking, does Bombay still have a chance? Who knows? Meanwhile, Post's homeroom teacher is moving house. Post and Pami come to help, but the teacher's wife acts strangely. When she sees Post, she suddenly becomes very friendly. She keeps calling Post Mana. Later the teacher explains they had a child about Post's age who died in a car accident. His wife was so heartbroken that she became confused, but no one expected that. After mistaking Post for her daughter Mana, she smiles for the first time in years. Post promises to visit often and keep the teacher's wife company. One day Post visits again at the door. She hears things being smashed inside. The wife's emotions are out of control again. She still believes her child is alive. She thinks Post is her daughter, no matter what the teacher says. His wife won't listen. She even tries to hurt herself. Then the door opens. "Welcome home, Mana." "I'm home, Mom." At this moment Post decides to become Mana and be their daughter. At the same time, Mao and Istal talk about Donkey's problem. Mao thinks they can't ignore it anymore. Now Donkey has a seesaw mindset. She keeps putting others down to make herself look better. This behavior will only lead her into endless darkness. After learning everything, Mao confronts her directly. He asks why she framed others. But Donkey suddenly laughs. The truth would come out anyway, right? Bombay is lying. I did all this for her own good. Mao says, "You're lying. You just hate seeing others happy. You're jealous. You want people around you to be worse off. Only then will you feel better." Exposed, Donkey steps back nervously. She accidentally falls down the stairs. Everyone rushes to check on her. Luckily, she only scrapes her face a little. Donkey gets up and runs away. After leaving the orphanage, she goes straight to Kaori. She knows that when facing the angry Mao, only this woman in front of her can protect her, because Donkey once found out by accident while buying lunch for Mao that Kaori is Mao's ex-wife. So she puts on an act in front of Kaori as if everyone is bullying her. Meanwhile, back at the orphanage, everyone is worried about Donkey. After all, she's just a 9-year-old kid. But just then they see Kaori storming in angrily to stand up for Donkey. Mao knows it's Donkey who caused all the trouble. But facing Kaori, he can't explain himself because years ago Kaori had severe bleeding during childbirth. When asked to choose between saving her or the baby, Kaori said to save the child. And Kaori has always been Mao's unwavering choice because he never thought of putting Kaori in a position to choose. But this caused a huge conflict between the couple. They grow apart. After that, Mao quits his job as a police officer and he starts Duck's house. But Donkey's lies make Kaori distrust Mao. No matter how he explains, she refuses to believe him. In the end they part ways. Unhappily, Mao is heartbroken. The next day Mao talks with Ice Doll and decides to stop Ben and his wife from adopting Donkey. They worry that adopting a child with mental issues could destroy a family. But when Ice Doll tells Ben and his wife, they refuse to give up. We don't want to let go so easily. It would hurt too much if we never see the child again. They even offer to go with Donkey for therapy sessions and heal her with more love. But they don't know that Donkey is eavesdropping outside, afraid of being abandoned again. She never expected her foster parents would still want to keep her, despite her mental problems. They never think of giving up on her. During dinner that night, Donkey suddenly collapses from stomach pain. While the other kids panic, Locker, whom Donkey always picks on, rushes over and takes her to the hospital. Even after the checkup shows no issues, Locker insists on carrying her back. At this moment, Donkey decides to apologize to everyone because her biological mother abandoned her twice. She always fears her foster parents will leave her too. She also worries that others will find happiness leaving her alone in the orphanage. Maybe finally sharing her long-hidden secret makes Donkey burst into tears. Though her explanation doesn't fully satisfy them, they still choose to forgive her. As fingers dance across the piano keys, as melodies flow through every heart, the winner of this international piano competition seems obvious now. Even the judges admit in the last qualifying round they didn't give her first place to keep her from getting proud. Now this girl from the orphanage only needs to finish this piece to win the championship. Then she can go international, changing from a duckling to a swan. But right before the end the music suddenly stops. She gives up. She would rather lose her bright future to win back a man's heart. Just earlier, before the competition started, Pami again asked Post to help find her real father. Post hesitates, but finally tells her father came during the qualifiers, but with his debts, he didn't want to hold Pami back, so he wouldn't meet her. She's a precious gem given to me by heaven. I just want to see her shine brightly. Today is Pami's only chance to see her father in the audience. Her father shows up. He tells Mao he is leaving the city soon. I want to remember her face before I go. Mao understands this means they will never meet again. Just as everyone thinks the winner is decided, Pami suddenly stands up. Dad, don't go. I don't want anything else. I just want to be with you. Her father in the crowd is also crying. He decides to leave, but Mao stops him. Did you hear your daughter calling you? But I can't do anything. Just say her name. That's all you need to do. Hearing his daughter's desperate cries, he can't hold back anymore. Pami, Dad. When Pami runs into her father's arms, she knows giving up everything is worth it. Even if she has to go back to that tiny rented room under 10 square meters. Even if she might go hungry. But she doesn't want her heart to keep wandering anymore. Seeing the father and daughter crying in each other's arms, Mao can finally leave with peace of mind. But just as he reaches the door, he gets a phone call. It's from Kaori. Mao never expected Kaori would agree to meet again, because every child from the orphanage had come to see her. The injury on Donkey's face wasn't caused by Mao. She fell by herself, and she told Kaori that for the past 10 years Mao had been silently protecting her. He chased away every person who meant her harm. This makes Kaori remember when she scolded Mao for running the orphanage just to satisfy himself. Ice Doll argued back. He can't do all this just for self-satisfaction. Finding new families for so many children is much harder than you think. He gives them a place to call home. Only Mao is doing this work. Kaori chooses the small shop where they first met decades ago. Where their story began is where it ends. Not every couple in love gets a happy ending. That's just reality. She just hopes they can move forward with good wishes for each other. Meanwhile, when Post and others return to the orphanage, they see someone who shouldn't be there, Donkey's biological mother. She abandoned her own daughter twice for her own happiness. Now that her boyfriend left her, she wants to take Donkey back. At the same time, Donkey packs her things with a forced smile. Mom broke up with her boyfriend. See, I'm the most important after all. When Mao finishes the paperwork with the mother, this means Donkey is about to leave. Post asks Mao why he agreed. I have no choice. Her biological mother is here to take her. What can I say? If either the mother or the child didn't want this, Mao could reject the adoption request, but in this situation he can't do anything. As Donkey waves goodbye to everyone, Ben and his wife suddenly arrive. When Locker found out Donkey's biological mother was taking her, he rushed like crazy to Ben's house. Come with me quick. The foster mother knows she can't compare to the biological mother, but she still wants to say a proper goodbye to Donkey. When Ben and his wife stand in front of Donkey, they can't find the words to speak. They just gently hold the child's hand, unwilling to let go. The biological mother notices something is wrong. The biological mother grabs Donkey and tries to leave. Donkey cries out in pain. No one expects what happens next. When the child says it hurts, the foster mother immediately lets go, but the biological mother doesn't stop. At that moment Mao, who stayed quiet until now, steps forward. Please wait. Then Mao suddenly kneels down, and in this moment everyone understands. No one loves these homeless children more than Mao does. Donkey, please choose your mother again. Not the mother who gave birth to you, but the mother who truly loves you. As Donkey hesitates, even Icedall and Locker kneel down too. Seeing the hopeful eyes of her foster parents, Donkey remembers the time she spent with them. It was warmth she never felt before, and her smile has never been brighter. Now she understands. Being loved by parents feels so wonderful. She still remembers when Icedall wanted Ben and his wife to stop the adoption. Her foster mother said, "We don't want to give up so easily. If she has wounds in her heart, we want to heal them. We're willing to give everything to help her heal." Donkey knows the truth. Her biological mother only sees her as an emotional crutch. When she finds a new boyfriend, Donkey will be abandoned again. She was just too scared to face this truth before. But seeing everyone's effort and her foster parents' love at this moment, Donkey finally finds courage. She pulls away from her mother's grip and runs back to her foster mother's arms, feeling abandoned. The biological mother starts shouting insults at Donkey to protect their child. Her foster father covers Donkey's ears. The biological mother yells, "You'll only become a burden to me in the end." Maybe because of all the hardships they've faced, these three people cherish their bond even more. From now on, this family of three faces life's challenges and joys together. Icedall puts on her most beautiful wedding dress. She wears perfect makeup, but she feels nothing for the man before her. Her painful childhood leaves her with no hope for love or marriage. If she doesn't hope she won't get hurt, maybe getting married is just something she thinks she should do at her age. That's all. Now Icedall only finds warmth in her meaningful work. She helps abandoned children find new families who will give them fresh starts. This might be the only thing she truly wants to do with her life, but things don't always go as planned. Her fiancé doesn't understand Icedall's work. He doesn't like it at all. He doesn't want her to keep helping these unwanted children after they get married. He wants her to be a housewife. He thinks she should find meaning in life by taking care of him and their future kids. He asks, "You love me, right?" Icedall says love. What is love anyway? She doesn't even know herself. She pulls herself together and starts another work day. Today is Donkey's adoption day. After signing the papers, she'll go to her new family. "Thanks for everything. Don't you dare come back here." "Yes, Sir Mao. I'll always face life with a smile." Maybe everyone feels sad to see the kids leave, but they still wish every child a bright future ahead. In children's dreams there's freedom and honesty and hope for tomorrow. But Bombay's dream is full of thoughts about feelings for Jolie and Pitt, reluctance and attachment. Bombay is having a sweet dream, but Post suddenly shakes her awake. He is already downstairs. "Jolie and Pitt." "Huh. Jolie and Pitt are here to pick you up." Bombay quickly looks downstairs. This is not a dream, but she suddenly feels scared, even though she wants to be Pitt's daughter. She worries they might not truly want a daughter. She fears if they have a son later, they won't love her anymore. She worries cultural differences will cause many conflicts. She fears everything in the future. When Pitt hears Bombay's questions, he patiently answers them one by one. But poor Post has to run up and down to relay messages. After hours of this, Pitt finally gets angry. Can you stop this? Why so many selfish demands? What do you really want? Sorry, I'm leaving. Wait, don't go. Wait, don't go. Bombay quickly opens the door, but the hallway is already empty. Just kidding. Bombay says there are better kids than me. Brad Pitt says, I'm not even a boy. Brad Pitt says, you should find a more suitable child. No, we only want you. Just promise me one thing. Okay, what should I do? Just smile and stay with us. Bombay nods and says, okay. When a big hand holds a small one, they never want to let go. And at the end of the story, how could we forget that unforgettable call? Jolie Pitt? At the same time, Post decides to go to the teacher's house. Using the name Mana, she becomes their daughter. Welcome home, Mana. I'm home, Mom. Ever since the teacher's wife mistook Post for her late daughter, Post visits the teacher's wife every day. She tries hard to make her happy. She stays until the teacher's wife falls asleep. Then Post gets ready to leave. Maybe because she never met her biological mother, she really wants a mother's love. Even if she's just a replacement for their daughter, she can still honestly call her mom. The teacher asks, is this really okay? Post says, why wouldn't it be? No one gets hurt. The teacher asks, what about you? Post stays quiet. She never thinks about her own feelings all this time. As the oldest kid in the orphanage, she takes care of everyone. Post acts so mature and strong that people forget she's only 9 years old. But deep down she also wants to feel what it's like to be loved. She wants to stop pretending to be strong, even if it means becoming a replacement for their daughter. Even if she loses herself, she doesn't care. So Post stays with the teacher's wife, doing simple things that seem ordinary but warm her heart. But as time passes, the teacher's wife's mind becomes more confused. Sometimes she looks at Post suddenly, as if seeing a stranger. It might last just a moment, but it scares Post. So they ask the teacher to put away all things about his daughter. Mana Post says to hide the photo album. It makes her confused. The teacher says, I understand. Meanwhile, Atabone receives her nursing school acceptance. Now that she's almost an adult, it's time to plan her future. While studying medicine, she might find a way to treat her eyes, maybe even find a boyfriend. But first she needs to stay strong and live on her own. But I still want to stay here. Just then the phone rings. It's Kaori calling. Kaori packs her bags. She is about to leave the city. Before leaving, she asks Atabone to give a letter to Mao. No matter how much Atabone tries to stop her, Kaori won't stay. When he quits his job and starts an orphanage working hard for the kids, I end up with someone else. Kaori knows she owes Mao too much. Maybe only by disappearing completely can she truly end their story. After getting the letter, Mao never finds Kaori again. He goes to the old soccer field remembering what happened 10 years ago. He chose to save Kaori instead of letting her have the baby, but Kaori still left him heartbroken. Mao stands on the field, kicking the goalpost again and again. He kicks so hard he breaks his leg. Life has 108 kinds of troubles. Everyone's troubles are different. To make up for his mistakes, he wants to find new homes for 108 children. Because he used to be a cop, he has seen too many criminals. That's why he knows a happy childhood with a loving family is so important for a child. Now he has adopted 108 kids. It's time to say goodbye to the past. Mao kicks the ball hard, but he falls down badly. When he gets up again, he smiles for the first time in a long while. Let's go home. Okay, from now on every day is for himself, as the kids from the orphanage leave one by one now. Only Post hasn't found a home yet, but she has made up her mind to be adopted by the teacher. She will start a new life with the name Mana. Lately the teacher's wife wakes up more often, and every time she wakes up, it feels like she's telling Post, you're not my daughter. Post tries hard to fit in, but suffers deeply. One moment the two are playing happily in the park. The next, the teacher's wife sees a red flower and loses her mind again. Her gaze at Post is colder than at a stranger. Post is just a replacement to become Mana. She has lost herself. If the teacher's wife fully recovers, where will Post belong then? She never imagined happiness would feel so out of reach to hold on to it. She endures so much pain. I'm barely myself anymore. Meanwhile, Ice Doll arrives at Duck's house. She tells Locker she has called off her engagement. A marriage without understanding, that's not what she wants. She doesn't want to be a housewife. She wants to do her best for the kids at the orphanage. When Ice Doll turns around, she sees Locker already reaching out his hand. She takes it without hesitation. Let's work hard together for this. Just then the kids arrive too. They all find Mao. They ask him to bring Post back. They don't want Post to suffer anymore, wanting to go where she's needed. Isn't that just like her? Mao thinks this is the first time Post tries to find happiness her own way. and no one should stop her. When they reach the teacher's house, the adoption papers are being signed. Mao sees Post acting nervously around the teacher's wife. Anger rises in his heart. He tears up the agreement because he realizes the mentally unstable teacher's wife is like a ticking time bomb. She could snap back to reality any moment. Post would have to spend her whole life. Post must act as her daughter for life. She must also live in constant fear. This child is not your daughter. Look closely. Really look at her. Post cries. Mom. The teacher's wife says no. Post sobs uncontrollably. This day finally comes. She has always lived watching the teacher's wife's moods. She never lets her guard down. She just wants to hold on to this so-called happiness. But now, no matter how much she calls her mom, the woman ignores her. The adoption falls apart. In disappointment, Post finds Mao. She asks why he ruined her happiness. Listen carefully. If you leave, I'll be lonely. Your name isn't Mana. You are my daughter. If there's a love that stays in the heart forever, it's the joy of finding what was once lost. This is a father's message to his daughter. Even though it comes many years late, Post is still overjoyed by this love. She can't help but feel happy. Mao may not be able to give her much, but he will always give her the purest love and endless kindness. Happiness is not just an empty dream or false hope. In fact, it's right there within your reach. Happiness isn't about having everything, but about having what you need close to you. There will always be someone who brings you warmth like never before. The story of happiness never truly ends, and their happiness will continue.